What's up, guys? Welcome back to another one. Today we're going to be diving into a massive collection that I picked up. It is my most expensive collection that I've ever picked up. The value is over $8,000 and there is some really amazing cards to highlight, and a lot of them are actually still available. So you can head over to vipokemon.com and use code CATCH10 for 10% off. It was a really great experience being able to talk to Ryan, get his insider about this collection. It's a long video for today, but I recommend just putting this on while you get something done around your house, or sit down, get some popcorn, just enjoy the ride. And also, we talked for over 3 hours just recording this, so a lot of it is not in the video, but everything I tried to put in here is for your guys' enjoyment. So please do stick till the end of the video. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys. I wouldn't be able to do this without you, seriously. I never in a million years thought that I would be able to buy a collection like this, and let alone be able to fund the hobby for myself, fund a business, and just be able to grow a YouTube channel, do all of this. It's absolutely amazing, and I cannot thank you guys enough. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. We're just going to show off as quickly as possible some of the crazy cards that are in it, and I just wanted to start off with these really unique jumbo and box topper cards that you just don't see every day. This is the Crobat box topper from Sky Ridge. It's transparent, as you can see. It looks really crazy from the back as well. Pretty decent condition, and I think it's because it's made out of some sort of plastic or something. You can kind of see like the texturing on it, which is very cool. There's a winner best of the game Dark Venusaur jumbo. And then there's not one, but two of these Rockets winner Mewtwo's. Absolutely cool cards. I mean, just not something you see every day. And then on the back it says not for play use, which I think is just really cool. Next up, some other unique items. There is this. Next up, a really unique item, and it is, in fact, reading backwards. It's kind of confusing. They're temporary tattoos, so you can put those on you. Pretty cool, just piece of history from right about when I was born, so that'll make me seem a lot younger. And then there's this still sealed Neo Genesis pack expansion. And yeah, there's a cool promo in there that I'll put up on screen for you guys, but still sealed. It's not worth very much, but still pretty cool. And then this lockdown theme deck, also not sealed, but just a really cool piece of history that came a part of the collection, and just kind of, tells more about the story. There's the cards in there, and, all this stuff was played. I mean, it's kind of beautiful, It really is. But yeah, that's all very cool. Next up, I just wanted to show you guys, we already began pricing on a lot of these cards. Market on Vintage is going up, so it's pretty cool. Timing-wise, we got the Dark Charizard, one of the highlights. Pretty decent condition on that. Rocket's Mewtwo with a swirl on that right by the toes. It's really cool. Kadabra, Reverse Holo. Sableye, Holo. Sabrina's Alakazam. Venusaur, Holo. Feraligatr, Reverse. Electabuzz. And this is kind of like the stack. There's 3 of these Gardevoirs. This is the stack of like $15 and above cards, which, not the biggest stack. We got 4 of these Chansey EXs. Obviously, this is not including all those Snorlaxes, but there's a big card right there. Sabrina's Gengar. Oh, a couple Gengar. Man, I just know these things are going to sell fast. I mean, Gengars just sell faster than I can even blink. It's really, really crazy. Yeah. This is a really cool card. My brother-in-law has graded one of those. Incredibly hard to grade the ones that have the holo like that all over the card or on the edge. Just because it soaks up scratches like no tomorrow on the holo. This is kind of a cool set, I think. It's the winner best of cards. And it was kind of cool. Ryan was telling me that they only did these for the stage 1s, which is pretty interesting. Normally you would probably see like you know, the basics, or you would see their stage 2 evolutions, but kind of showing some love for the middle guys, and that Gravile is the most expensive from there. Dark Ampharos, really, I think this one is just honestly one of my favorite of the holos that I've seen from this collection. Rocket Scyther, Slow Kings, a couple there, one with the swirl for a little bit more. We got two of these guys. This one has a major bend in the top right and the bottom left, so pretty unfortunate. Devalues that quite a bit, but yeah, pretty cool. Several Blastoises. Man, so we got first edition Rocket non-holo. We got the Legendary Collection holo Dark Blastoise. First edition Dark Blastoise from Team Rocket with the swirl. Blastoise from base set, and then two from base set 2, and one of which is quite damaged. It does have a swirl, the damaged one, but yeah, so the base set 2 one, this one's a lot cleaner than this other one. So, I didn't even know about this, but there was a massive amount of these Mewtwo's that were in the collection. And yeah, I didn't even know about these promos going into it. I will say it's a cool promo to have. The one problem with lower value promos that are pretty common is, you know, I don't know how many months it's going to take for me to sell through all of these. It's 40, I think it's 40 plus, maybe 45 of them. And yeah, cool promo, but only worth about $5 to $10. And there's several damaged ones. I can go ahead and show you guys real quick, for example. So what makes this one damaged is you can see there is just a massive like creasing there in the middle. There's like a dent right there. Just most of the damaged ones, they've got just pretty big dents. There's something else even going on right there. Is that just a stain? Yeah. So stained, creased. The damaged ones, I mean, these were all from 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago at this point. But I'm surprised we even got some near mint ones that are actually not included this stack. I have the near mint ones set aside right now. And then finally, the craziest part of this collection, what makes it so insane, is the Snorlax Z promos. Yeah, if you guys are ever wondering, you know, how rare these cards are, they are not as rare as you might think, you know? I mean, just think of the Moonbreon, for example. There is 20,000 of those in just a PSA 10. So just keep that in mind, guys. You know, these cards, there's a lot of them that exist, but it's supply and demand, and that's what drives up the prices. And as you guys are watching this video, I probably will already have sold through a majority of them because people are chomping at the bit to get a hold of some of these. We've got everything from damaged to moderately played to LP, and then finally we've got near mint. So really crazy stack. Unfortunately, the only card from out of all of these that is actually worth grading, we did have a second Sabrina's Gengar. This one with a really cool swirl above Gengar's head. This is the only one that I would consider is worth grading, and that's because it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 white spots. Other than that, the card is really clean. Centering is decent. I think this would probably get maybe a 7 or an 8 from PSA. And even then, it's not really a huge increase in price from just what it's worth raw. But I feel like Gengars are just so cool, and I have so many collectors that are interested in graded Gengars. So I figured I'd grade this one, but literally that is the only card from this entire collection that was worth grading. So let me know in the comments if you guys want any of these cards, or DM me on Instagram. Of course, head over to the website. You can use code CATCH10 for 10% off. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. Well, Ryan, it's great to finally be talking to you, and almost as close to the flesh as it's going to come. I just wanted to give you a moment basically to introduce yourself, talk about some questions that I have for you later on. Yeah, first off, let's just let's just get into it. How did you come across the channel? What brought you here today?
Well, I honestly been dealing, in my head, trying to come to terms with maybe uh, try to, sell my collection. And I started mainly looking around YouTube, people that bought whole collections and stuff like that. I got kind of sucked into that whole vlogging of entire shows and pack opening. And honestly, I contacted a bunch of people that were already kind of established, and one of those people were you, and you were the first one to really answer me with like enthusiasm about seeing the collection and seeing and hearing more about it, and the only one that was okay with actually taking a call to discuss things and to talk a little bit more. From then on, now I'm kind of just consuming all of this Pokemon content pretty much daily, and yeah, that's pretty much how I got to it. Almost honestly, pure chance. I picked like four or five of the I don't know 20 channels that were doing this, and
Yeah,
at least in your opinion.
yeah, absolutely. No, I was super happy to hear from you, and yeah, absolutely super enthusiastic about seeing this, and I think that everyone else watching this is gonna share the same feelings. And I know that was a off the cuff question. We have some questions prepared, but one other thing too that I just wanted to ask real quickly, which was just kind of your thoughts coming back into it and why it is that you chose to sell it through like a vendor or a dealer versus just trying to sell it to yourself, because I think a lot of people underestimate just how much work goes into selling a larger
Yeah.
collection.
Well, that's the main thing. I mean, honestly, selling cards, especially since I'm not in the States right now, that's a big barrier. But even if I were in the States, I would still uh, go through it like this. Just looking. It's not a massive collection per se. They have like a very low, let's go with like population, especially in the graded formats. They move, but they don't move that often. There's a lot of work that when I started thinking about it, it's like, okay, I got to sell a couple thousand cards or whatever. And I remember when I was doing that way back when eBay was just starting for Magic. I was selling maybe just a few cards that I would pick up at tournaments and drafts and things like that, and that alone was a really big time investment. So I mean, the work that goes behind it, it's I mean, that's why you get a premium, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Essentially, you as a seller, you buy at a discounted market price or whatever, because I mean there's a lot of work that goes into going back and reselling the cards and putting everything together, getting them graded. You might lose money on certain cards if you get them graded, that kind of stuff. I honestly, having a full-time job that sometimes requires like 80-hour weeks just does not translate well into trying to do this by myself.
Absolutely, yeah, and if you're comfortable sharing too with everyone, because you touched on that you're not in the states, where are you right now?
Southernmost countries in South America. It's like nestled on the coast, right between Argentina and Brazil.
I think it might have cut. I think it
Um,
might have cut out just a bit at the beginning. You said Uruguay, right?
yeah, Uruguay.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no. So, and I think you were mentioning, there's not really much of a market.
For vintage. I mean, competitive, like anything like that has competitive value. The current format, those cards do move. There is nobody that really collects. At least not anybody that already has like most everything. I mean, being a country of like 3 million people, the scene itself, as far as just gaming in general is concerned, it hasn't reached that peak that
Totally.
it has now in the States, especially for particularly for collecting.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
is, I mean, you have some the majority of the collectors that you'll find will be mostly for Magic. You know, there are people willing to pay for older cards that are big ticket cards for Magic, but for Pokemon, honestly, people are not even willing to get like the modern big value cards unless they have some kind of competitive value per se.
Right. It would almost be unheard of to hear someone paying $2,500 for like the Moonbreon, for example. Like that
No,
wouldn't be very
it's
common, right?
like that person will immediately get in touch with somebody outside. There are a couple people that do buy things at a very discounted price. We're talking like 50% or less.
Oh
And
man.
then once they have a big enough collection, they will go to the States. They will go to the pre-releases and stuff like that and sell cards there.
Right.
And that's how it kind of operates. If you pull a big card from a set and that's not really usable in competitive, you are kind of already cutting the price in half.
So I just wanted to get kind of a little bit better to know about you, some personal questions. That way, people can have a connection to the collection. That was an inadvertent rhyme. But so, what is it that first inspired you to start collecting and also playing with Pokemon cards?
Well, it was that. It was the playing. It wasn't the collecting per se. I'm a horrible collector. Like the only game I collect is a dead game, which is Legend of the Five Rings, which I just it's my favorite card game. It was the only one that I really took really good care of, and it's now the one that's dead. And I mean, it is still worth something to somebody like me, like
Right.
certain singles that I'm still missing for certain
And yeah, and
master
if
sets.
someone
But
and if someone does know about Legend of the Five Rings, feel free to comment on this video or message me on Instagram, and maybe we can get something to happen there, connect you with them because
oh yeah, I had probably have one of the largest
it's,
collections in the world. I'm
yeah,
honestly, like as far as I've seen on the different forums and Facebook and stuff like that.
yeah,
But I started playing Magic before Pokemon, and then the craze happened, and everybody was buying Pokemon cards. Like even people that had no idea about just what a card game was, they were heavily associated, like in 98, 99 with more like sports cards than an actual game. But coming in already playing Magic, I'm like, okay, well, this game is simple. It's fun. I mean, it sounds like it could be a good time. And at the time, you could only kind of go to places like Borders. I don't know if there are any still open, like the bookshop, like Borders and Barnes and Noble, were the places that were the first leagues in the U.S. were hosted. And you had one poor employee that was had to pass the certification exam to
right.
make it to be a judge or a professor or a gym leader. I forget which one was the requirement to run the league. um, but it wasn't the best atmosphere. It was just a place where it was official. Even the card store that I went to normally, the Dragon Slayer, now the Adventure Game Store in Fort Lauderdale, uh, they had like a small Pokemon community, but they kind of played at the same time that we played Magic. So I never really got into Pokemon through the card shop. We just go Saturday mornings to the mall where they had a Borders, and then that's where the league was. And a friend of mine that was a couple years older than I was ended up kind of running the league because the poor teenager that they had running the league there just didn't want anything to do with it anymore. Imagine like
Yeah.
it's just like working at essentially a minimum wage job, having
Yeah.
to also take care of a bunch of kids that
Yeah,
were
they're
there
just like
doing something
I just
weird.
work here. I'm not
Yeah,
yeah.
and you had to take exams, and you had
Oh man.
to pass tests to become so. Uh, that kind of eventually fell apart, and that's when,
Right.
luckily, during the the whole dying of those leagues in the bookstores, um, we finally got somebody who went through all the certifications at the Dragon's Lair, and it coincided as well with the beginning of Friday Night Magic in the year 2000. So instead of having play Magic during the Pokemon hour at the store at the same time, kind of dividing the space, Magic started having the bigger show ups during Friday nights, and then Saturdays were kind of much smaller, and I started participating in the league because I didn't have to also uh, divide my I had to either choose to divide my time with Magic and Pokemon and play like 1 week and 1 week, or it kind of came perfectly where I was able to do both games at the same time and compete in both games at the same time as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm glad you touched on that too cuz not everyone realizes like this was like right when Pokemon was even
Oh
becoming
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
thing. Like that's the
Yeah, I'm
thing.
telling you, like
Yeah, so I think that's really cool that you
this right
touched on
here.
that.
This right here is like as far as how small um the whole thing was. This was my first Pokemon tournament prize.
Wow. It's just like a
Like
coin.
it's
Oh, it's
it's
a
it's
pin.
like it's like a little pin, like
Wow.
really, and I mean it has all the markings down here. I mean the copyright stuff, and like this was an official like thing that
That's
happened. But like
crazy.
it took years. It took until like 2002, 2003 to offer up like the better medals via a point system that you had to get like this big card and you could do a whole bunch of stuff, and they would stamp it with like this little thing.
Just wanted to interrupt really quickly and let you guys know that I have been doing consistent Whatnot shows every week or every other week on Friday, and it's a great time. We end up giving away a ton of slabs, a ton of free packs, cards. If you're someone who wants Pokemon but doesn't want to spend 100% of market, then head over to Whatnot. You can use my link in the YouTube description for $15 towards your first purchase on Whatnot. It's a ton of fun. We had some really big shows just recently where we brought over $10,000 in inventory, and some of those Snorlax Z promos we will actually be bringing to Whatnot to do $1 starts every now and then. Maybe not every show, but every now and then. So definitely hop over on Whatnot and check it out. Let's get back into this video. Yeah, and another thing too that I think you mentioned. So yeah, you mentioned about collecting in the right when Pokemon was becoming a thing, and I would actually consider, and I think a lot of people feel this way too, is you just were a trading card enthusiast. You wanted to play with these cards and you wanted to do it right, like the vanilla way, like as OG as it gets, right? And I think a lot of people now kind of forgot about that part of more than just collecting, playing with these cards. And obviously there's still a ton of people that play with them, but I think most people would consider you more OG of a collector, even though you didn't say you were a collector, you just play with them. You're as OG as it gets, really. So I just think that's really
Wait,
cool.
I played every like between like 97 and 2005. I probably played every single card game that came out of, like into the market, even as a test. Even like there was a stupid like X-Men movie card game that came out and was canceled before the movie even came out.
Oh wow.
So there was like a test, but I've played just about, yeah. I mean, playing the cards was my most um, honestly what brought me into the whole world of trading cards.
Yeah.
I mean, there were I had cards that have passed through my hands that essentially became fuel to trade for other like card games. Same thing with like, I would trade somebody that played both games a Magic card for some kind of Pokemon card that I needed, and other way around. And when cards started picking up value and it started becoming like, because I think with Pokemon, even back then, the collector scene was it became much more established much quicker than with other card games. So
Definitely.
you had cards that had like literal value just for collecting. For example, I mean the obvious Charizards that come out in every set. Charizard, uh, it was an unusable card. It was complete garbage. Like out of the three starters, I mean Venusaur was there was a niche deck for it, but Charizard was garbage. Like it was a meme deck. It was just to show, hey, look, I have four Charizards.
Right.
That's the only reason
It's
anybody would ever
funny
play
because
Charizard.
it's like I hear people so often they mention about their collection like as a kid, and they're like, oh yeah, I traded away this first edition Charizard, and it's like no wonder
Yeah.
people were trading them away because they're like, I need to get Blastoise, man. Like my deck sucks.
Like I mean, and then you upgraded your Blastoises because I mean, in the collection there's like a whole bunch of base twos, which I wanted like I don't like that too, and so I traded other stuff away just to get the first editions
Right.
into just because I was playing a Rain Dance deck for 2v2, so I needed my Blastoises to be as pimped out as possible,
Yeah.
and I
I'm a
needed
big
those.
Blastoise fan. I've been trying to collect a lot more cards of them, and
Oh, yeah.
I mean I love the artworks and stuff, and I've played the game, but I'm just a super huge fan of like artworks, and that's what's driven me to like go as deep into it as I have. But I think that really there's no way to go wrong with playing with these cards. I mean, everyone's happy at the end of the day. That's what matters.
That's mainly what I did. So
Absolutely, yeah.
it was that like there were a lot of cards that were. I mean, I kept like the three Charizards in the deck, uh, to just to have the meme deck, to play around, especially when you were teaching kids. It was a deck that was very straightforward and it was very flashy. It could get people into the hobby and stuff like that when it started actually helping out in the league and stuff like that. But I never saw the cards as like that as an investment. Like I never took super good care of them. Um, uh, that's why uh, there's a lot of cards that uh, you'll see are have the classic signs of being played, not like
Yeah.
mistreated or anything, but they will be played
Right. They
just
weren't just
because
thrown into a
that's what
sleeve
I have.
and tucked away. Yeah.
Right,
No, and I
but
think
there's a
that
lot.
there's
Yeah,
some cards where that is actually I feel like that is a cool part about this. And also too, the thing is if it's perfect, most of the time it's unobtainable for a lot of collectors. I mean, just personally, when it comes to a lot of vintage cards, it's like I mean, I don't really truthfully believe that I would have a PSA 10 Shining Charizard, because I mean it's just thousands of dollars. So I think that it's cool sometimes when you see these, that someone played the crap out of it and they love that card, and that's an
yeah.
amazing
Well, I
part
mean,
about it.
I feel like Blastoise. I have honestly, this is one of the most near mint. I would say it's still mint. It doesn't even have any because Dark Blastoise first edition was famous for having really bad printer lines.
Yeah,
The things that you see. Same with
yeah,
the Lapras from the lockdown deck. That's why like there's a PSA 10 population that's like extremely small because uh, of those like famous printer lines. Almost every single one of those cards came with one. But I mean
yeah.
this one
wonder if it's...
Still, the lighting.
Is it on autofocus or...
It should be. It doesn't seem to be doing it, but we'll take a picture of it later so you can
Yeah.
put it up.
Yeah, we'll put it up
I
on
mean,
screen. It looks beautiful. I
it's
mean, just from what I can
it's
see.
freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, when I saw it and I found it, and I'm like, oh my god, please tell me this doesn't have like some kind of like water damage or something. And I pulled it out of the sleeve. I looked at it. I'm like, okay, this is great. Look at it with a little magnifier to see if there were any errors in the print or anything like that. And I was like, oh well. I mean, this card is just gorgeous. I might actually keep it, but no,
Yeah.
you're gonna get it.
So yeah, and so just moving right along. My next question that I had, and you kind of touched on a little bit, some memories. But just I just wanted to get your opinion on what's a key memory that kind of sticks with you today, playing at a tournament or playing with these cards, just something that's stuck with you.
Honestly, there was a period of time during what I would say the height of my competitive career. Right, like the meta was like extremely stagnant, and then some of the Gen 2 sets started coming out, and I kind of broke apart at least my local format with a fairly unorthodox like deck that like nobody was really ready for. It was like the top 3 decks in the meta, and they were like putting in a lot of tech countering like each other up the top 3, and then I came in and I would sweep every tournament I went to with it, which made Machamp become one of my favorite Pokemon. Just from like before that, it was never on my radar. I never used it in any of the games because I would also play the games as well. By that particular first tournament that I went to with this deck after playtesting in our very small group against the 3 top decks like over and over and over and over and over and over, and now I'm like, I could actually probably win a tournament with this deck. I ended up winning like 5.
Wow.
In like a season. It started like that's kind of a little bit more forward when we were actually able to start traveling, or a little bit like older. Because the very beginning, it was like all the official tournaments were very like West Coast centered. Like, for example, there was a very famous tournament that took place on a yacht on that that was like the Queen Mary from the game.
Wow.
But the closest qualifier that I could get to was in Houston, and I lived in South Florida, and that was at that age it wasn't feasible. But then you would look at the map of all the different qualifying tournaments that they had, and it was like California alone had like 25 of them.
Wow.
So for a long time, the East Coast like competitive scene was severely underrepresented, under-serviced, and honestly, there weren't enough people that were interested enough to become judges and organizers and all of that. So it was just, there were a couple spots on the East Coast where it was like, okay, so if you live nearby, you're lucky. Otherwise, you got to travel just for even a weekly tournament.
Right. And I feel like it's cool because there's even some decks where I've seen videos of it where people win, thousands of dollars. They get the grand prize, and they had a deck where I'm pretty sure most of the time like they bought regular EX cards that were like 50 cents, and they were able to make a deck for like 30 or 40 bucks, and they took home a grand prize of tens of thousands of dollars. And it's really cool to see like how it doesn't, because I've heard a little bit about Magic the Gathering, for example. Most of the time the cards that are expensive are highly playable, right? Am I correct where that's kind of the case?
In one format or another, they are highly playable.
Right. And
Like,
so,
yeah,
and the funny thing is most of the time, I mean, I don't really think the expensive cards are what's always playable. And that's the cool part, too, about Pokemon is you have, like, the different rarities. So it's like even the base rarity, you don't necessarily need the alternate artwork to be able to deal the same damage, which is just really cool. I feel like that's nice that, like, you know, it doesn't require hundreds of dollars to build your first deck to go do something like that. Like,
yeah, I mean, back then the most competitive deck for a long time, for several years, was comprised of it was called Haymaker. It was like Hitmonchan, uh, Electabuzz, and then Scyther, and a few other things mixed in. There were over the years some tech uh, changes, but that was the base of it. And those cards even back then were not expensive. Like you could get first edition Hitmonchan for a couple bucks, and Electabuzz and stuff like that. That's what actually produced the first best of series. It wasn't necessarily that you were like when you got a best card that you were the winner of a tournament. It was just denoting that it was some of the best cards that Wizard had ever printed. If you got one with a winner stamp on it, it meant that you won. Like you would show up at a tournament, you would get a card that said best, full foil, whatever. But it was because it was one of the best cards printed. Period. Like something, even Professor Elm when it came out, which was the last set that Wizards printed, has a best of version because it was a staple card that was in every single deck.
right. That's cool.
And if you got the winner one,
I did not know that.
Like you won something. Like
Yeah.
you placed that in one of those tournaments that you went to.
Totally. Well, so yeah, maybe we can, because I mean, you're mentioning some cool cards that I've gotten to see some photos of. So maybe we could get into the collection a little bit. So, first question, which is, what is the crown jewel of your collection? Like something that you just feel like you're super excited about, or you think other people will be really excited to see?
Well, it's not particularly like super huge or anything. I mean, the jumbo cards are always good to show off because they're usually kept in terrible state when you find them and things like that, just because they're unwieldy. But I've always loved the fact that this card you had to get changed and got banned, which is the Sabrina's Gengar.
There it is.
The one with the graveyard in the background.
Yeah.
We have.
And yeah, I'll put a picture up on screen of that one.
Yeah, we have the little, we have the U.S. or the English version for comparison.
And what are the conditions like on those? Like, are those ones that are played pretty solidly, or?
No. These were never played. I mean, Sabrina's Gengars were never a card that was competitive in any way. So.
And that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. And I actually just got at the San Francisco card show that I was at just recently. I actually just got one of those Sabrina's Gengars, and it was in decent condition. It was definitely not perfect. There were some issues with it, but I had that for.
Well, I mean, this one is not perfect in
totally,
yeah. Not by a lot. I mean, that's something you'll find.
But it was clean. It was pretty clean. And I probably had it for less than 15 minutes. That's how quickly it sold. It was crazy. It was.
Yeah,
and I think.
I mean.
Yeah.
That's why I
it's one of those cards.
For that, it was like I see like, oh my god, there was like, I mean, I have to give credit to you about like how to actually check for like the actual volume of the market and the prices and what's what to expect and all of that. So checking this, like there aren't a lot of them going around.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a card that sells immediately. It sells daily whenever it's.
And there's so many Gengar collectors too out there that I feel like chase after certain cards. They're all after the same stuff. So.
Check out the video of the cards that sell the quickest that you just put out at the time of recording.
Yeah,
I think it's really cool, and it does have a Gengar in it, and I think it's not necessarily the most expensive card in the collection, but it's certainly one of the most like interesting ones.
Yeah. Yeah, it just looks crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't even like
Just
fan 'em out.
fans of out.
I can't.
It's just
I
like
just can't.
fanning out
There's
Benjamins.
like 70 something, 80 of them.
Yeah. And I just think that I really do like the Sabrina's Gengar. I just wanted to show that one just real quick because of the fact that, and I'll put the picture up on screen too that you sent me of just them fanned out, and it's just like. And do you have any theme decks in the collection too?
Oh, theme decks? Like,
Yeah, because I think you mentioned too. Yeah. There's the lockdown right there.
yeah, there's lockdown.
Check that thing out.
I mean, sadly, it is not sealed.
Right.
However, it is 100% complete. Except for the Lapras is sleeved since it's the hollow, but check the population for PSA 10s for that card because that card is insane. It's famous for never having a perfect print. Like there were some cards like the one I have. It's essentially a checkerboard of printing lines. So, but yeah, it's like.
Yeah, those printer lines were notorious for early like Wizards of the Coast stuff, I feel like.
And this is when they also started putting out for this type of damage counter instead of these that were the usual fare. And a lot of leagues were very, very adamant that you use the official damage counters.
Wow.
Which was really annoying. And it came with it also came with one of these tokens, which they're still doing, I think, at least for some of the smaller packs that I've seen. And this token itself, it's an Aerodactyl.
Aerodactyl, okay, nice.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that, like, in the condition that this token is in, if you get it graded, it's actually not non-valuable, I would say.
Like, yeah, there's some expensive coins.
It's some niche. It's kind of niche as far as the movement that I've seen, but like I've seen a lot of graded ones. Sold for...
I believe PSA grades them too. And yeah, I actually watched a video not long ago that was talking about coins and like just how rare some of them are, and it's.
For example, this one. This one
really
was
cool.
the first metal coin that we got, and this is how bad. This is why I'm so excited to open up the Prismatic Evolutions box, because back then we got excited over very, very small stuff on the premium products that we would get. For example, this metal Pikachu coin, like the first metal coin to
I think I've seen that one before.
In one of those boxes. It's if you check out the like Pikachu 25 token, you'll find it. But oh my god, it's like a metal token. It's like it was. We had such low expectations on extras on products that when I see now some of these premium boxes that come out with all these like extra stuff like the mats and the sleeves and the plushies and all that stuff, I'm like, oh, we didn't get any of that stuff back then.
Yeah, no.
Like,
they honestly, they go all out
modern
now.
collectors are so spoiled.
They go all out now, yeah. I definitely do agree. Like what compared they've really amped it up, and also the promo cards too that you get with a lot of the boxes. Because the Super Premium Collection box comes with a really cool promo as well.
Yeah, they go full out with the art, like some of the art. I mean, I of course love the older art, but it's all kind of based on how things look like in the anime or the manga, or there were literal panels from the manga taken out and then given the card treatment.
Yeah.
And there's of course a lot of cards that I really like one of the ones that I'm going to show you that I'm really sad about because it got destroyed. That have some of that cool, let's go with alternate style art that back then was kind of what started making people collect a lot of stuff more than just get them to play. Because after the initial rush of people buying because it was the big thing, the people that were left afterwards when Jungle and Fossil and all of that came out were the people that were actually into the game or already into the collecting. It wasn't as big anymore.
Right. Is it a Machamp? I'm taking a guess. I might be wrong.
No, it's a Pikachu.
Oh, it's a Pikachu. Okay. Oh, is it the secret? Is it like the secret?
It's I'll just show you and we'll use this as a cautionary tale as far as how like don't store your cards in a very humid storage unit in Florida. I mean, this is one of those literal, hey, these were in the back of my parents' closet because they've been there since I moved to college. And I'm 38, so that was a while ago.
Yeah.
And I didn't take enough good care of the cards. Like half the collection got completely destroyed. Like here we have like a first edition item finder. And
Ooh. Yeah.
You can see all the warping and the
when the light hits it.
humidity damage. Like look like back there, that's a tear that just formed by itself.
Wow.
And then we have this lovely Pikachu.
Okay. I've seen that one,
The promo one, like made of like clay, that had a card, an unsleeved card behind it. That the humidity made it like bleed all the magenta.
What was the magenta card that was on it?
Oh my god, no, I can't.
What Pokemon was that?
It was.
Or maybe it wasn't a Pokemon card. Was it something else?
No, it was. It was a Pokemon card. It was one. It had something similar to this one. That was something that was very had a very rare not rare, like a red detail on it.
Got you.
That
like a
was
reddish
sitting
and purple,
that was sitting right there. You see like a big splash.
Oh yeah.
Right there, and then it kind of bled out. Yeah,
Man.
there were so many cards that were lost to just being like, oh yeah, well, just keep my Pokemon cards in my parents' storage unit.
Yeah,
and
that actually kind of covers like the kind of just like where the collection was being kept. But so we could just kind of skip on just for time's sake. So kind of the transition to selling, basically, which is basically I just, kind of wanted to know a little bit more, like, why you decided now is the time to sell, and just give some more information to other people who maybe would be interested in selling, just kind of, your thoughts on why it is now.
Well, personally, I got the collection a couple of years ago. The collection back, let's say, when I moved to Uruguay. My parents were like, "Hey, there's like a whole bunch of stuff in one of our storage units. You can take an entire container with you, tax free. We'll just load up all that stuff in there because there was like furniture and stuff mixed in there, stuff that I could essentially use. And when we were going through everything, they were like, this was the whole card collection, and I'm like, holy crap! I found it. I took a look at it. A lot of it was in like one of those old, multi like space cardboard boxes that was like completely green from mold and warped with humidity and stuff. And I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I've got some of those boxes.
This was a few years ago, which is when Pokemon was already kind of becoming a huge thing. I'm like, oh my god, like there's probably so much stuff that's just ruined in there. And mainly the stuff that survived was stuff that was in deck boxes and other storage mediums that were in those big cardboard boxes that just absorbed all the humidity and made it even worse.
And did you kind of keep the hollows separate, or like were they just kind of mixed in those boxes probably?
No. The hollows were mainly kept separate, but a few of them still died to humidity, especially the ones that weren't in very sealed boxes or weren't on top loaders or things like that. Like all the stuff that survived very, very well was.
And so, if you got it back You said like around 3 years ago, probably, or maybe a little longer.
Well, 3 years ago I moved. We were kind of, let's say about 4 years,
Okay,
4 or
yeah.
5 years.
So why is it that you decided to wait a little bit? Because I mean, there was a lot going on with Pokemon 4 or 5 years ago too. Around
I
COVID, I
know.
mean, there was a massive
I
boom.
did. Yeah, I did try. Well, not try, but I did think about selling it before I moved. But then I was like, still had that collector stuff. I mean, if you look behind me, I have like shelves full of just collectibles.
Yeah,
Uh, and I was like, I mean, I don't need the money. I don't care. Like, I mean, I want to keep the collect. It's a part of my childhood. I got all my, I'm big into like keeping trophies and memories. It's like
yeah,
there's a lot of sentimental value to like
yeah,
almost everything I
absolutely.
collect. And I was like, I don't want to. I don't know if I want to get rid of it because I'm just big. Like I said, I'm big into competition and like the memories that brought, the people that I've met from like all over the world going to those tournaments, and honestly, it was some of the best years of my life, and it was mainly that.
Right.
But then I'm like, I'm only displaying like 4 or 5 cards. The rest of the collection is literally just kind of rotting away in a box. Uh, Not many people. I mean, what am I gonna do? Just take them to shows to show them to people and things like that. I mean, it's not. Um, I'm not collecting master sets. I'm not doing anything in particular. So
Yeah.
the Pokemon market right now is really hot. I'm not doing anything with these cards. Maybe apart from obviously being, I think, a pretty good time to sell them from uh, uh, let's go business transaction point of view.
Yeah, from
There's
the
a
market
lot of cards
standpoint, it
in
is a
here.
great time to sell. I mean, it really
There's
is.
there's a lot of these cards that honestly they have a very low um, volume. They're probably a lot of them that are missing from people's sets that they're trying to complete.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them that are in really really good shape, like extremely good shape. And then there are some cards that have a little bit of history behind them, like all the winner cards. They were uh, honestly some of the best memories from that time because I kind of had the time to play a lot of Pokemon and play a lot of Magic and stuff like that because I got a really bad back injury playing football,
Man.
and kind of going to the store and just playing games and playing Pokemon and playing D&D and traveling to these tournaments and all that. It was my escapism from being on like a wheelchair. It wasn't
Man.
uh, it wasn't super fun. So having fun in this kind of way and keeping that having that outlet for my competitiveness on top of doing something that was really cool. I mean, I like Pokemon. I played the game before I started playing the cards.
Hmm.
It wasn't the cards led me to the games. It was kind of simultaneous. I also watched the anime, aired every Saturday morning, and that kind of moment on my life. Uh, the game and the people and the community and everything around there really, really, really helped. Just being able to do all that stuff while not being able to really do everything I had been doing up until that point. kind of, I don't want to say saved me. I don't know what it would have been like had I been, wheelchair bound and not able to do anything and not having any other hobbies that would cover uh, that itch and that sense of being a participant in a community or on a team.
Yeah, and I totally understand like wanting that escape. I mean, I think that was kind of a big part of several years ago around COVID when there was like just such a boom in just collectibles in general. I feel like that was a big escape for a lot of people, like something to put their mind on. So yeah, I could totally see that. That was honestly that was kind of a big part of the reason that I got back into collecting myself is because I had cards as a kid. I played with them, and I had a binder, and but when I got older, like I didn't really hold on to them. I didn't care as much. I was trying to be cool, get into other things. So it was like, but then it was like remembering like that nostalgia behind it, and it was just such a wonderful escape, really. And one thing too, I wanted to ask, like, do you feel like it's hard to let go of this? Because you mentioned there's some that you still have good memories around. So I imagine that it could be a struggle.
Yeah, it did take me all of these years to finally, come to terms with that. It finally, got that thing. It's like, okay, I'm gonna keep a few of them. I'm gonna keep, a couple of the winter cards, a couple cards that are very important to me for one reason or another. And then,
and do you have a card handy that you are keeping? Maybe just I don't know. Maybe just show it off, like a winter card or something.
It's like one of these, for example.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, the Electabuzz.
Yeah, it's not focusing, but it's you got the.
I do know that card. I'll put it up on screen. Which one?
You
It's
got the
winner
bust over here, and you got the winner stamp right here.
Yeah,
you can probably see it. Yeah.
And I love the holo on those cards. It's kind of like the Legendary Collection reverse. Well, it's not exactly like it, but it's similar. It's just very noticeable. It's very pretty. They did a good job on those holos.
So I had, I was participating and luckily winning a lot of tournaments during that whole run where I have several of the of the best of cards, essentially the last winner cards that Wizards did before they lost the licensing. And then, I also have a ton of the winner cards that immediately came right after. Like the Grovyle, the Marsham, the second. I don't know why they picked the second evolution of the starters for the winner cards, but
that is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't used. You always use something to evolve. Well, I mean, if you had a 3-stage Pokemon, you always use some kind of something to skip past the second evolution. So I had no idea why the first batch of winner cards were like these three guys.
Oh, check those out.
The Grovyle and the Marstomp and the Combuskin.
Yeah. But it is kind of cool because it's like I do think that sometimes the stage ones, they're almost forgotten. Like I don't really know how many people care a ton about like Charmeleon, for example. Like it's either Charmander or Charizard. Like is just from what I see. So I think that's kind of cool.
The other one's like a freaking dragon.
Yeah.
And then the other one's just an angry lizard.
Yeah. So and another thing too with letting go of it. So you're 38 now, and you were playing in tournaments when you were what, like in your teens or early 20s?
Yeah, 12.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Like
around 12. Yeah, around 12 was when I started actually going to the leagues and playing competitively. Like I said, there weren't a lot of tournaments back then, especially on the East Coast.
Right.
But around.
But do you have some of those cards still in this collection from when you think you were like, in your teens?
I have entire decks still exactly as they were when I was playing them from back then.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's super cool, and I can imagine that that would be difficult. But it's good that you're keeping some stuff. I like that because I feel like there are some people, you know, where they've like sold me like a binder, you know, just full of their cards because they're just looking to part ways. And I always encourage them. I'm like, keep something, like keep one card because then you get to say like this was a piece of that, you know, like just for your memory's sake. Now, not everyone does that, but I think that's cool that you're doing that. And kind of my last question with regards to like selling and the transition to selling is you know, what do you hope people will feel when they have a part of this collection? Because a lot of people watching this are gonna either go to the website or they're gonna encounter me at a card show, and they're gonna say, I want a piece of that. You know, so what do you hope that they will feel to have part of your collection?
I mean, honestly, as long as people are looking for that specific card because they're missing it from their sets, like I said, you know, the main game that I collect, it's a different game, but you know, always, you know, finding that one card that you've been looking for a while in like really good shape
Right.
and you like it and you see it and it's like even if it's a tops card, like we've talked about it heavily. It's like a near full collection of the movie release of the tops cards and a lot of really cool stuff from the first three series
Hmm.
that are really good shit. I mean, those are kind of hard to get, especially the alternate cuts that came, like the dice cuts for the tops cards and
Yeah.
the rainbows and stuff like that. Are really they're I mean they're not super expensive, but they're hard to get.
Yeah.
And you know, getting that one card, even if it's like a $1 card that you've been looking for I don't know how long, just you know, to put it in its slot and its binder, and I know that you're collecting for the love of it, and and it's just gonna make you happy. Uh, that's mainly what I'm looking for because I mean these cards, they they have collection value, right? The people that are buying it are buying them to fill out their collection, be it a specific Pokemon, be it trying to make master sets, be it whatever. That perfect, like that enjoyment of putting in the card into its slot in a binder that had been empty for however long you've been looking for that card.
Yeah,
That always
absolutely.
feels amazing. That
Oh,
feels so
seriously.
good.
I know. Yeah. You honestly, that's a hard feeling to describe to people that don't do that. Yeah, because I mean, and I see people so many times at card shows where they have their binder and they have the sticky notes in the slots of like what card's supposed to go there. And yeah, I mean, you see their face light up when it's like, all right, this is it. Like I found it.
Yeah.
It's in good enough
Come on.
condition for
You say,
me.
yeah.
Like, yeah, it's an indescribable feeling of just satisfying, like satisfying that goal. Like you got it. You have it.
It's a really it's like a massive endorphin kick.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's better. It's better even. It's I mean, you know when people do stuff like I don't know, retail therapy just to feel good because you know that buying stuff will make you feel good when you're having a bad day.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a double kind of thing. It's like you're both, you know, getting something, and
Right.
at the same time you're also filling out, you know, a project that you're
Exactly.
working on.
Yeah.
It feels it just it has that rush
And
that
it's
is
a
really hard
hunt.
to.
You know, you're searching
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is honestly that is a good description. Yeah. Like similar to retail therapy where it's like. I mean, some people, it's like, it's just about making the purchase. For some people, it's about finding, like, those good deals or whatever it may be. Like, sometimes I enjoy watching, like, those garage sale finds or something. Like, that, I imagine that
Those are
is,
addicting, yeah.
that's got to be a rush when it's like,
They-
you find
it's,
something.
It's like it's vicariously addicting. It's the same as like, for example, watching your vlogs or other people's vlogs and stuff like that. Like I will sit there and watch for the 3 hours or whatever because it's just I don't know. I mean, a lot of the time I gotta say it's usually in the background while I'm doing work or whatever. But it's a very good like seeing both the interactions, and then people genuinely happy that you have something. Whenever a few instances where people come up, it's like, hey, just by chance, like they're already coming in with like, he's not gonna have it, but I gotta ask. It's like, do you just happen to have this or that card? It's like, oh yeah, I
Yeah.
do. You do, and like their face changes like
Yeah.
completely. The energy like changes completely. That's what I want people to feel when they get like any of the cards.
Yeah, I actually have a really I still am working on. I have so many hours of footage that I'm going through, but it's going to be coming out soon. I've finally, since I got back from California, I've gotten some time to catch up. But there was this one really cool experience. I might actually have a dedicated video for it, where this guy, I met him at the first card show I ever did in October of last year. He saw that I had a PSA 7, it was like a PSA 6 or 7, I forget, and it was a Legendary Collection Blastoise Reverse Holo, and he had seen that card, and I guess for some reason he passed up on it that time, and he'd been searching for it. Well, I ran into him again at a card show a couple months ago, and he said, he's like, I doubt you'll have it. He didn't recognize me. He's like, I doubt you'll have it, but I've been searching for a while for a Legendary Collection Dark Blastoise Reverse Holo. Do you happen to have one? I said, yeah, I do happen to have one. And he's like, wait a minute, this looks like the same one. And he was just like, man, I've been searching for 6 months. I still can't find one that looks, half as decent as this one. He's like, normally there's always this print line. He's like, there's always a print line right here. And this is the first one I've seen where it doesn't have that. And he's like, I just have to get it. Like, it's calling my name. And it was like, that was such a cool feeling to me. It's just like, he was so excited when we shook on the deal and just, he went through with it. And I mean, I don't even know how long he was searching for it before. And, that was the one copy where it didn't have that print line that he said he'd seen hundreds of times before on online copies.
Yeah, and I mean, you're a collector yourself, as you said, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you kind of quit the collection for a while, but now you're back in full force, and you're
absolutely, yeah.
also, you've made it a business, so you understand that feeling.
Absolutely,
which is
yeah.
just really cool. I mean, not a lot of people that sell things normally understand what it might mean to somebody who buys it, be it it's whatever. Let's talk about buying or selling anything. But, when you're dealing in collectibles, you always find some of those moments, even if there are cards that are not particularly rare to find or whatever, just being in the right place, right time. I know for you it's a business, but it also has to feel really good when you're in that kind of situation, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And another thing too is just like, even if it is a card that like you said, like there's plenty of them that exist. You could search it and find it on eBay. Sometimes it's kind of like about having that story and that experience behind it, because it's like, I mean, like, I've got cards where I picked them up from like other vendors or even YouTubers, and it's kind of like you get to say like, yeah, this is something that I got when I was traveling, or this is something that I found. I mean, it's like, it's kind of the same thing where it's like, why do people buy souvenirs, or why do people buy things to have like as conversation pieces? Like, that's kind of the same thing with collecting Pokemon, I feel like, for a lot of people. But yeah, it is an absolutely wonderful feeling, and I'm very grateful that I get to do what I do. It's awesome. And so our final question that I wanted to throw your way, which is just some of the cool items that you've acquired from tournaments. I think one thing that was really cool you sent me a photo of was a T-shirt that you had from a tournament.
Oh yeah. So during like 2003, 2004, they started experimenting with multiplayer formats for the game, and there were stores that were picked like across the world to try several different formats. One of them like was ours, and it was well, actually I have it kind of handy. Oh, also the
There's the jumbo cards, yeah.
Jumbo cards at the top. Oh, and there's this really very unique thing that I haven't really found, which was that they were giving out during um, the Gen 2, like in the Gen 2 tournaments, which it's like these
Oh.
temporary tattoos.
Oh my goodness. How
I have
cool.
not found anything about these.
Yeah.
This still has like the plastic and everything on it. I remember they were given out specifically at the pre-release, and then the first set of tournaments for when Ruby and Sapphire came out. So I mean, I'm gonna be sending that your way anyway, just because I have
That's
no
awesome.
idea. Like I have not been able to find anything about it.
Oh man, there it
but
is.
yeah, this was like the crazy. This is the crazy price support that we were offered by the Pokemon Company back then.
There it is. And
like it had that on the back.
Is it supposed to be upside down?
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, did they not notice that? Or maybe
it was like it was not good. They went to hang like they were locally printed and they came up with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it catches that. It was like, and this was the first multiplayer tournament that they ever tried. These are like you get the number one there because they didn't even think about bringing in some kind of prize other than this. So they officialized it by putting number one, and then over here is the Japanese representative that had come over. Yeah. And over there was like the highest level kind of professor that we had in South Florida.
And I know it's a long shot, but do you happen to remember when in 2003 you did that? I know it's a while ago.
Oh my god!
Do you remember if it was like early in the year or late in the year?
Crap! Like I honestly don't.
Yeah, it's for sure. But I was just thinking.
At that time, I was full on like traveling for tournaments and stuff. So much
there is a large percentage that you got that before I was even born, because I was born in 2003. So yeah. So there's a solid chance I was born in August. So there's about 8 months.
Oh, there's a very solid chance I got it before you were born.
Yeah, which is just crazy. I'm obviously everyone in the comments is going to be like, you're a baby. But that is the truth. I mean, yeah, I mean 2009 and like those sets like black and white and stuff was like what I was like opening as a kid, like, you know.
Black
so
and white, I didn't even like, I was completely out. I wasn't even playing the games anymore.
Yeah, no, a lot of people were. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of those sets there's some pretty low population cards too, just because of the fact that nobody was
there was a
it.
schism like in kind of since when I stopped playing up until I don't know, it was near the when they introduced like the EX cards, like the last I played on like an EX card of our deck was kind of my last competitive deck. And after that, I kind of, you know, responsibilities moved around, like moved to Texas, and then I moved to Arizona, and then I moved to Georgia, and I just didn't keep up with the hobby. I was like, I'm gonna pick one, and it was just Magic because it was, you know, with drafting and all of that. It was,
and that's what you started off with, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I kind of kept on. with
Makes
that
sense.
just because it was just easier. Like no matter where I was, I didn't. You didn't even have to keep up with the format themselves. You could just go at any point at almost any store and just sit down and draft, which for Pokemon was not an option. And you know, I just kind of, you know, fell off the hobby due to life.
It's been a pleasure talking to you as always. I think that there is a lot of gems in this video that people are gonna really love, and yeah.
Hey, if you like the Topps cards, honestly, we got some pretty cool stuff.